Jai Hind, student of class 8. Today we will start chapter 6, that is this is Jodi's fawn. My dear students, this is very interesting story. Here you will study and the lesson this Jodi's fawn, and it is written by Marjorie Kennan. And this story revolves around the fawn whose mother was killed to use its liver and her to extract poison out of Jodi's father Penny and save his life after a snake bite. It begins with Jodi's convincing his pa to bring the fawn home and raise it, then his ma, and then finally going with Melville to search for it. The lesson you takes through Jodi's journey from finding the fawn till taking it home within. So dear students, let's get started with the paragraphs. Jodi's allowed his thought to drift back to the fawn. He could not keep it out of his mind. He had held it in his dreams in his arms. He slipped from the table and went to his father besides. Penny lay at rest. His eyes were open and clear, but the pupils were still dark and dilated. Jodi said, "How are you feeling, Pa?" "Just fine, son. Old death has gone, thieving's elsewhere, but wasn't it close save?" "I agree," Penny said. "I'm proud of you, boy, the way you kept your head and did what was needed." So here you will write out the meaning of some meanings you will write here, and that will be drift back. Drift back means to go back. To go back. Now then, the meaning of fawn. Fawn is a young deer in its first year. Dilated. Dilated means enlarged. Dilated means enlarged. You will have to write it. Then after thieving. Thieving means the action of stealing. And a close save. A close save means it's a narrow escape. And kept your head means stayed calm in a difficult situation. Okay, so dear students, that was all the tough meanings of this lesson. Now let me tell you the explanation. So Jodi's could not help but think about the fawn again and again, no matter how much he tried not to. He held him in his arms in his dreams. He finally got up from the table to go to his father's beside, where his father Penny was resting. His eyes were open and seemed clear, but the pupils were not, still dark and enlarged. Jodi's asked his father how he was feeling. His father replied he felt just fine. He further added that it was a narrow escape from death, which seems to have gone stealing elsewhere. Jodi agreed. Penny expressed how proud he was of Jodi for how he did not lose his cool and did what was necessary while staying calm. Okay. Now the second part. Pa. Yes, son. Pa, do you recollect the doe and the fawn? I can never forget them. The poor doe saved me, that's certain. Pa, the fawn may be out there yet. It might be hungry. I am very scared. I supposed so. Pa, I am a big boy now and don't need to drink milk. Why don't I go and see if I can find the fawn and bring it here and raise it? Penny lay quiet, staring at the ceiling. Boy, you have got me hemmed in. It won't take much to raise it, Pa. It will soon start eating. It starts leaves acorns. You are smarter than the boy of your age. We took its mother, and it was not to blame. Surely it seems ungrateful to leave it to starve. So I can't say no to you. I never thought I would see another day. Now here, my dear students, the meaning of doe. Doe is a female deer. Right, is a female deer. Then after, hemmed in, meaning of hemmed in. Okay, so the meaning of hemmed in is caught in a situation where one can't say no. And the meaning of acorn means small brown nuts. Then he asked his father if he still remembered the doe and the fawn, to which Penny replied that he can never forget about the poor doe that saved his life. Jody expressed his concern regarding the fawn, who might still butt out there, hungry and frightened as he was separated from his mother. His father agreed. Jody further adds that he can take care of him and he does not need to drink milk as he is a grown-up boy now. He asked his father if he could go and look out for the fawn. His father asked if Jody wanted to bring the fawn at their place, to which Jody agreed and added that he wanted to raise it too. As his father looked at the ceiling, he expressed how Jody has put him in a tough situation where he is unable to say no. Jody tried to convince his father by pointing out that it would not require a lot to afford to raise it and it will soon grow up to eat leaves and acorns. Penny added how Jody was brighter than the boy of his age. Jody mentioned that it was them who took its mother and now it will suffer because of them, even though it is not to be blamed. His father expressed how ungrateful it would be to let him starve. Penny could not say no to Jody as he had lost all his hope of living to see another day. Now, can I ride back with Millville and see if I can find it? Tell your ma I said you can go. He sidled back to the table and sat down. His mother was pouring coffee for everyone. He said, Ma, Pa says I can go bring back the fawn. She held the coffee pot in midair. He said, Ma, Pa says I can go bring back the fawn. She held the coffee pot in the midair. What fawn? The fawn belonging to the doe we killed. We used the doe's liver to draw out the poison and saved Pa. She gasped. Well, for the pity sake, Pa says it would be ungrateful to leave it to starve. Doc Wilson said, That's right, ma'am. Nothing in the world comes quite free. The boy is right and his daddy is right. Millville said, He can ride back with me. I will help him find it. She set down the plot helplessly. Well, if you will give it your milk, we have got nothing else to feed it. The meaning of settled back means walked back quietly. Trying not to be noticed, gasped means catch one's breath with an open mouth, owing to pain or astonishment. Now Jody asked his father if he could ride back with Millville to try and find the fawn. His father agreed and told Jody to convey to his mom that he has given him the required permission. Jody went back to the table in the manner to avoid getting noticed. He told his mother while she poured coffee for everyone that his father has given him permission to bring the fawn. On hearing this, she paused and held the coffee pot in the air and asked which fawn is talking about. Jody informs her that he intends on bringing the fawn that belonged to the doe they killed to save his father's life. He further explained that they used the doe's liver to extract poison to save his father. She heaved a sigh as he said that he can bring him home out of pure compassion. Jody told her that his father thinks it would be ungrateful and unappreciative of them to let the fawn starve. Dr. Wilson kept his view forward by agreeing with what Jody and his father said. He thought both of them were right. He further added that there is nothing you can get from the world for free. Millville volunteered to give Jody a ride and help him find the fawn. On hearing all, Geordie's mother felt helpless as she sat down. Even though she was not in favor of it, she knew they were right and thus agreed if Geordie would give the fawn his share of milk as they had nothing else to feed. Now, Millville said, "Come on, boy, we have got to get riding." "Ma," Baxter asked anxiously, "you will not gone long." Geordie said, "I'll be back before dinner for sure." Millville mounted his horse and pulled Geordie's behind him. He said to Millville, "Do you think that fawn is still there? Will you help me find him?" "We'll find him if he is alive." "How you know it's a he?" "That spot were all in a line on a doe's fawn passes the spot at every which way." So mounted means riding an animal, typically a horse, and every which day in a different direction. So here, as soon as his mother agreed, Millville asked Geordie to come along and said that they needed to go. Geordie's mother, Baxter, quietly, uneasily asked for the reassurance that he will not be gone for long. Geordie replied that he would be back before dinner. Millville climbed his horse and helped Geordie sit behind him. Geordie asked Millville if he thinks the fawn would still be there and if he will help Geordie in finding him. Millville assured him that they would find the fawn if it was alive. However, he asked Geordie how he knew it was a male. Geordie told Millville that he is sure because his spots were all in a line. His father had told him that a doe fawn or a female deer has spots in different directions. Now, let me tell you the explanation of second part. Geordie gave himself over the thoughts of the fawn. They passed an abandoned clearing. He said, "Cut the north, Millville." "It was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake and killed the doe and I saw the fawn." Suddenly, Geordie was unwilling to have Millville with him. If the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. And if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. The meaning of endure means handle out. Gave himself over to means to spend all your time and energy doing. Abandoned means having deserted or left, and clearing means an space in a forest. So Geordie engaged himself in thinking about the fawn. They crossed the deserted piece of land in the forest. Geordie gave the direction as he told Millville to turn towards the north where Penny got bitten by a snake. He had killed the doe and seen the fawn there only all of a sudden. Geordie became unwilling to be with Millville. He wondered if the fawn was dead or could not be found. He did not want Millville to see his disappointment. On the other hand, if he found the fawn, the union would be so lovely and personal that he could not bring himself to share it. Then he said, "It's not far now, but the scrub is very thick for a horse. I can make it on foot. But I am afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got bitten by the snake too. I will take care. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. If he wandered, leave me off right here. All right, but you can take it easy now. You know, north here and the east, there and there, that tall pine makes a bearing. So long, Millville, am obliged." He waited the sound of the hoofs and end to end, then to cut the right scrubs was still. Only his crackling of twigs sounded across the silence. They wondered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. Now, then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. He came into a clearing under the oaks. Buzzards sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe. They turned their heads on their long, scrawny necks and hissed at him. He threw his bow at them and they flew into an adjacent tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. He parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. He circled the clearing. That was no sound, no sign. The buzzards clacked their wings, impatient to return to their business. He returned to the spots where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours, studying the sand for small hoofs print. The night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cats and buzzards. So now here Geordie told Melville that the point where he saw the fawn is not very far now. Geordie suggested that he would go on by foot, and as the scrub ahead are very thick for a horse. Melville, I was afraid to leave Geordie alone, as what would happen if he got lost or bitten by a snake too. Geordie assures him that he will handle it and also that it might take a while for him to find the fawn in case he's wandered further. He told Melville to leave him happy nearby. Melville follows his direction and advises him to take it easy. He asks Geordie if he is aware where the north and east was. Geordie told him by pointing out the directions that he knows and that the tall pine acts as a compass that helps in identifying directions. Melville remarks that the pine is so long, to which Geordie agrees and expresses his gratefulness. The meaning of hoofs means the horny part of the foot of a horse. Meaning of scrub means it's a small form of a plant. Obliged means grateful. Makes a bearing means acts as a compass and helps to identify direction. Crackling means sharp sound. Twigs means a slender woody shoot. Buzzard means it's a large hawk like bird of prey. Flapped means move. Scrawny means thin and bony. Hissed means make a sharp sibilant sound. Adjacent means nearby. Bog means a main branch of a tree. Geordie waited for the sound of the hoofs to end and let the horse go a bit far and then take a right. The scrub that was in front of him stood still. Only the sound of a few ticks could be heard in the silence. Geordie doubted for a second if he had mistaken his direction. A large bird like a vulture appeared in front of him and fluttered into the air. He came to the abandoned clearing from under the oaks. They sat in a circle around the dove and lay dead. They looked at him with their heads that laid on their long necks and hissed at him. Geordie threw his bow at them and they flew into nearby tree. The sand showed marks of large cat's footprints who had killed it recently and had left the doe for the carrion birds. Now, clack is the something hard meaning, make a sharp sound. So Geordie separated the grass from the place where he saw the fawn the previous day. He could not believe it had just been a day. The fawn was not at that place. Geordie searched the abandoned land, but there was no sign and sound of one. On the other hand, the buzzards made sound with their wings out of desperation to resume what they were doing. Geordie began looking at the place where the fawn had appearing from and began reading the small hoofs print in the sand, but the rain from last night had washed away all tracks except for the cats and buzzards. So my dear students, that was half of this lesson. Next half will cover in next video. Up to the time, thank you. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.